£35. It's not that much money, but, you know, what can you get for it? Well, you could have got Mario Kart on Wii with Wii Wheel. You could have got a t-shirt from a brand that probably charged me too much for said t-shirt. You could have got these shoes that were on sale. You could get some headshots from me with the friends and subscribers discount. You could get this overpriced piece of plastic from Apple. Yes, this really did cost £35. But me, I did something different. This is the Casina 28 to 300mm f4 to f6.3 lens. And this cost me £35. And, you know, to test out what a £35 lens, second hand by the way, gets you, I thought I'd put it against some of the lenses I already owned. Which include, but are not limited to, the Canon 18 to 55 f3.5 to 5.6 STM lens, the Canon 50mm f1.8, the Canon 35 to 80 f4 to f5.6, oh, and this lens I'm filming it on, the Canon 16 to 35 f2.8. And so to test them out, I took them outside and took photos of Gerald. This is the Casina at 28mm. It's not too bad actually. It's quite sharp, but it's not pin sharp on Gerald. Now we sit at 300 and you can see there's quite a bit of chromatic aberration, and when we zoom in that close you can see that even though it was in focus, it's not tack sharp on where I focused it. But anyway, let's test them at one of the main focal lengths that you'll use, a 35. As you can see at 35mm, the 16 to 35 is the sharpest, and it also has the best colour representation, giving a more contrasty look than say the Casina, so I declare the winner of the 35mm section. Next we move on to the lenses at 50. Okay, so pause the video in a second and tell me which one you think looks best. If you guessed 2, then you're right, because the Canon 18 to 55 is the sharpest in this. The Canon 50mm is close behind it though. It's a little bit softer, but it is also a nice crisp image. Looking at this image, you can see the nice blurry background, but this is not bokeh. This is bokeh with a nice shallow depth of field. To compare, we've got the Canon 50mm at f1.8 and 6.3, and then we've got the Casina at f6.3. Okay, so if you look at that, you can see that obviously the 1.8 has produced the better image. The 6.3 is close behind, and then the Casina is just there. Advantages of the Casina 28 to 300. Contrazooms are when you move your camera closer and zoom your lens out, or vice versa, to give you this weird background separation feel that looks really cool. It's a pump action zoom, which means instead of zooming it in normally, you zoom it in like this. Because it is a pump action zoom, gravity will inevitably act on it and bring it down. This has a lock to stop that. Calling to my name. They don't go walking through the devil's own blues. Better run through the jungle. The autofocus isn't great. It will get in focus sometimes, but it will just go out for no reason, and also the noise. The noise is terrible. The minimum focusing distance of the Casina is 1.9 meters, which isn't too bad considering it goes from 28 to 300, but when you say you have it at 80, and you have a lens like the 35 to 80 from Canon, which minimum focusing distance is 0.38 meters, you can get a much more macro shot with that than the Casina, so it's rendered useless. So in conclusion, it's not a bad lens. It's got its flaws, yes, but if you know what to do with it, you can take some really nice photos. And it also does flare super well. Like, oh my god, flare-gasm. But in terms of me choosing this over, say, the 16 to 35 or the 50mm,
Non, rien de rien. Non, je ne regrette rien.